Alright. The multiverse is a concept which I find very interesting. The thought of other universes out there, I just find personally really cool. Now, it's come to my attention that some people have taken an interest in my Undertale content, so I just decided to incorporate some multiverse stuff with Undertale. So anyways, today we're going to be talking about the different alternate universes in Undertale. But we're not talking about the universes in general. Today we're going to focus on a specific character in those alternate universes. And that character is, of course, if you looked at the title of the video, Sans. Now, after doing some research, I learned that there's at least 1,000 different Undertale AUs, which means there's quite possibly over 1,000 different versions of Sans. Now, growing up with Undertale, I do know a few of the more popular ones like Underswap, Underfell, Underlust. I don't want to talk about that one that much. But there are a lot of different and obscure ones that I had no idea about growing up. So anyways, let's get on with the video. I'm going to just be talking about different Sans AUs. Now, for these AUs, I'm probably just going to go over like what universe they're set in and their different kinds of powers and personality, and I guess some backstory too. I kind of want to be brief about each one because if I were to go over all of them in detail, this video would probably be 10 hours long, and I do not want that. Now, because there are potentially thousands of different Sans variants, I'm not going to go over all of them in one video, and I'll probably make this a multiple part series. Also, real quick, a big thank you for 2,000 subscribers. I cannot believe I've actually made it this far, so thank you very much. Also, make sure to comment what your favorite Sans AU is, because comments help the algorithm. Anyways, without further ado, let's start off with... Classic Sans is the Sans we all know and love from the regular Undertale. If it wasn't for this guy, there wouldn't be any other Sans AUs. He possesses bone attacks, gastroblasters, telekinesis, and of course... Anyway, you all know this guy. He is probably the most popular Undertale character, so let's move on to other ones. Fel Sans, or Red, is a Sans AU from the universe Underfell. I'm pretty sure he's one of the first AUs ever made for Undertale, and unlike Sans, he dons black and red clothing and a glowing red eye. Due to the nature of the Underfell universe, this Sans is a lot darker and edgier, and he's more intent on killing the player. His attacks are all similar to regular Sans, except all his attacks are red. Now, just a quick disclaimer before we keep going. The information given on these AUs are a little shaky, since all these characters are fan-made, and different websites have different information about them, so just comment down below if I missed any important information about these characters. Anyways, let's just keep going. Oh, and before I forget, Fel Sans was created by a Tumblr user named Vic the Underfella. I'm gonna start crediting the people who made these AUs starting now, because I just feel like that's respectful. So, anyways. Swap Sans is a Sans variant from the universe Underswap. In this universe, Sans' personality from the original is swapped with Papyrus's, and vice versa. It was created by Tumblr user Popcorn Prince, and is basically a lot cheerier and friendlier than the Sans we all know and love. He's seemingly a lot weaker than regular Sans, and instead of puns, he enjoys riddles. Back in the day, I did have a cousin who was obsessed with this guy, and if you're watching, you know who you are. Jin Sans is from the AU Hadarubi Tale, I'm sorry if I butchered that, created by Tumblr user Dreamer Skella Memer. This Sans has flowers on his jacket, a cross for some reason, a crack in his skull, and Papyrus's scarf. He also seems to occasionally don some kind of mask. Despite his appearance changing, his powers and personality are pretty much the same as regular Sans. Deltarune Sans is, well, just basically the Deltarune version of regular Sans. Nothing seems to really change about Sans. His personality and appearance is the same. The only difference is he's living on the surface and his brother hasn't been shown yet. We might see more of him later down the line in Deltarune since the game only has 2 chapters, but for now, he's basically the same guy. Pirate Sans is from the AU Ocean Tail, created by Fort, or Forte, I'm not sure. This Sans dons a pirate outfit and 2 peg legs. I'm not really sure if his powers are all that different. I do know his Gaster Blasters do look different though, so there's that. He also, for some reason, has a cracked skull. Undersource Sans is obviously from the Undersource universe, created by Tumblr user Slylock Sill. In this universe, Sans' sweater and glowing eye are both purple instead of blue. I'm not really sure why so many AUs have Sans with a cracked face, but whatever. Sans in this universe lives outside of the timeline, as Kara achieved infinite power. I'm not really sure how strong this one is. I assume he's really powerful, but I couldn't find any information on what he can do. And on the fan art I've seen, he does seem to have some strings, but I'm not really sure if that's his power or not. I couldn't find anything talking about it. Pestilence Sans is another version of Sans created by Tumblr user Hoshi Tsubasa. Now I couldn't for the life of me find out which AU Pestilence Sans is from, so if you know, just leave a comment down below please. Anyways, this Sans is like a parasite, and he feeds off of the magic of other characters. He has black bones, and there's caution tape wrapped all around him. Although he has the regular abilities that Sans does, he also has a couple new ones. All his new abilities seem to stem from disease, as he can infect someone's mind, he can change liquid to poison, and he can infect anyone around him with any type of disease. What I do find most interesting about this AU is that he has some pretty interesting weaknesses. He requires a constant source of magic to survive, and without a host he can suck the magic out of, he will die. Inferno Sans is from the Brimstone Tail universe, and is another AU created by Hoshi Tsubasa. He dons a black and gold jacket, fingerless gloves, and a red undershirt. He has the same powers as classic Sans, but he also has the ability to produce fire. He and his AU were both destroyed due to Pestilence draining the universe of all its magic. Zoo Sans is the Sans of the Underzoo alternate universe and is once again created by Hoshi Tsubasa. His outfit is widely different from the original Sans, wearing a zookeeper's uniform and a hat. He works as a zookeeper at an underground wildlife rehabilitation center, and his weapons include a butterfly net and the ability to talk to animals. Other than that, he has the same abilities as regular Sans. He is the current host of Pestilence Sans. Ink Sans is an alternate version of Sans from an unknown universe. He was created by Tumblr users Kamiet and Maibai. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. His outfit is incredibly different from the original Sans, donning a giant paintbrush, a brown cloak, and a bandolier full of paint. He is one of the most powerful Sans variants and is considered the guardian of the Undertale multiverse. Aftertale Sans, or Geno, is the Sans variant from the Aftertale AU. This AU was created by Tumblr user Lover of Piggies and might be the most confusing one. Geno Sans wears a white sweatshirt and a white undershirt with a giant red slash in his chest. He also wears Papyrus' scarf, and the Lost Soul effect from the Undertale True Ending seems to be covering one of his eyes. In an attempt to take control of the timeline, Aftertale Sans decided to inject himself with determination. Instead, he got stuck in the save screen. He now has the ability to restore the memories of those who forget during resets. Now, if you're thinking this isn't that confusing, it's the next part which kinda confuses me. Error Sans is another alternate version of Sans created by Tumblr user Lover of Piggies. He's the future version of Aftertail Sans and is hell-bent on destroying all the other AUs. He has black bones and wears a black and blue sweatshirt. He also has blue markings from his eyes to his mouth. They seem to resemble tears, but I'm not really sure. He has the same abilities as Sans, but he also has blue strings which he can use to control other people's bodies. These strings can also shatter people's souls. He also has the ability to jump through different alternate universes. Although he is strong, he suffers from haphophobia, or the fear of being physically touched. Fatal Error is an alternate Sans created by Zedramon. He's an alternate version of Geno Sans who was attacked by Error Sans. But due to Geno Sans not being able to die, he just became an error. For the most part, his physical form hasn't changed that much, besides from his eyes becoming red and blue. He also has a large glitching effect around his body. He also has a lot of abilities. He can summon red strings that feel like burning hot metal bars when touched. He can see the codes of other universes, and he has all the other abilities that regular Sans has. Delta Sans is a Sans variant from the Ultra Tail universe, created by YouTuber Animated Zorox. He has a white sweater, black trousers, black shoes, and orange gloves. He also has strange black markings coming from his eyes all the way down to his chin. This Sans had to absorb the Bravery Soul, or the orange one, in order to defeat a being known as Omega Kara. After defeating Omega Kara, he decided to go out and defend other universes. All his attacks are infused with the power of the Bravery Soul, and he's able to jump to alternate universes. Yeah, for this one I have no idea what the hell this is about. If anyone could explain it to me in the comments, that would be nice. But it's something to do with the Godverse. It's really confusing. I'll just put the link in the description of the article so you can read it yourself. From what I could gather, this Sans skeleton, in quotes, is some super godlike being that's power is out of universe. I mean, he wears a purple jacket and has a red X on his chest. That's all I can really say. And according to the wiki, he does have very good hand-to-hand combat skills. Please, seriously, someone needs to tell me what the heck's going on, because I have no idea what to say. Fresh is an alternate universe Sans from the Underfresh AU. He was created by Tumblr user Lover of Piggies, and although looking like Sans, is actually a parasitic monster that requires the souls of others to survive. Fresh wears extremely bright and colorful clothing with a backwards red hat and shades that spell the word YOLO. He has a lot of weird powers like explosive Furbies and a wiffle bat, but I think his weirdest power is that he can censor any swear word. Oh, and not be erased from existence, but whatever. Although he isn't technically Sans, I'm still gonna add him because he's a very popular character in the Undertale fandom. Killer Sans is an alternate version of Sans from an unknown AU. He was created by Tumblr user Rahaf Wabas, and I am so sorry if I mispronounced that. His outfit's just a darker version of the original Sans's, and he's got a strange red object on his chest. In this universe, he decided to aid the player in their genocide run, and ended up getting a lot stronger because of it. Unlike the original Sans, this Sans doesn't actually have any gaster blasters and instead attacks with sharp bones and a knife. Color Sans is an alternate version of Sans created in an unknown AU. He was created by YouTuber Super Yonma. He looks like regular Sans except for the fact that there's rainbow fire coming out of his chest and half his face. In this universe, Sans fought the human on their genocide run, and before being killed, he decided to absorb the human souls in order to defeat the human. He then used the power of the human souls to try and reset the universe. This didn't work, however, and he ended up being trapped in a void. He has a lot stronger attacks than the regular Sans, and he has a Rainbow Gaster Blaster hand, which is pretty cool. Nightmare Sans, or just Nightmare, is an alternate version of Sans from the Dreamtail AU. He was created by Tumblr user JokuBlog. He wears a purple outfit and a yellow crown. He also possesses the special ability of bringing out negative energy in other people, causing those around him to be filled with hatred and despair. He also has a brother, who we're gonna get into next. Dream Sans, or Dream, is also created by Tumblr user JokuBlog. His outfit is very similar to Nightmare Sans's, except for the fact that his colors are a lot brighter. All of his abilities involve positive emotions and empathy, and I'm pretty sure he wields a bow and arrow. Corrupted Nightmare is another Sans variant created once again by Joku, and is the evil and corrupted version of Nightmare Sans. Only an outline of Sans is shown in his appearance. The rest of him is just all black and gooey, with tentacles sprouting out of his back. He was once a human who was power hungry and ended up taking over and corrupting Nightmare Sans. He has the ability to control large black tendrils and the ability to shapeshift. Murder Sans is an alternate version of Sans from the Dusttail universe. It was created by Tumblr user AskDusttail and is responsible for the slaughter of the monster population in the underground. He's very similar to regular Sans, except for the fact that he has a hood up. In order to try and stop the human from completing another genocide run, Sans took it upon himself to kill all the monsters in the underground in order to gain the levels to defeat the human. The sheer concept of this alternate universe makes it one of my favorites. Six Bones is an alternate version of Sans that became an amalgamate with his brother Papyrus. They were made by an AU creator named Zarla. Their appearance is quite disturbing, as it's just Sans and Papyrus horrifically stitched together, which is really creepy to look at. Although they have all of Sans' abilities, due to them being combined together, it's hard for them to control these powers, and it mostly just hurts them when they try to use it. Horror Sans is an alternate version of Sans from the Horror Tale AU created by DeviantArt user Sour Apple Studios. This Sans has a cracked skull and blood staining his shirt. He also got his eye removed from Queen Undyne. He has a lot of powers that the original Sans doesn't have, like insane physical strength and a giant thigh bone he uses as like an axe. In a lot of fan works too, he is seemingly nigh invincible. Slash Sans is an alternate version of Sans from the AU Neon Tail, created by Twitter user Production Roxy. Slash Sans has an orange jacket, orange bandana, an orange shirt, blue pants, and one pupil has a star, and the other pupil has a heart. Slash Sans wields a golden sword, and has a lot of strange abilities the original Sans doesn't have. He can summon phoenixes, create unbreakable shields, and has some sort of electricity manipulation. Although he seems really powerful, he is afraid of spiders. Reaper Sans, or Death Sans, is an alternate version of Sans from the AU Reaper Tale. He was created by someone named Ren, but I don't have any social links on the Wikipedia page I'm looking at. He looks identical to Sans except for the fact that he wears a Grim Reaper looking outfit and wields a scythe. He has many powerful abilities like omnipresence, death manipulation, immortality, and darkness manipulation. He also has a coffee addiction, which is very relatable. Weakest Sans is an alternate version of Sans created by Dusty the Goat. This Weakest Sans has cyan pupils with tears streaming down his face, a purple jacket, black shorts, and the head of Papyrus, which is all cracked. Nothing's really known about the power of the Weakest Sans, except presumably he's the weakest character ever. But he does talk to the severed head of his brother, so at least he has another gimmick besides just being weak. Shattered Dream is an alternate version of Sans created by Tumblr user Zoo is Here, and it takes place in Dreamtale. Much like Corrupted Nightmare, Shattered Dream is basically just an outline of Sans, while the rest of it is just corrupted goop and black tendrils in their back. They also seemingly possess the same power set as Corrupted Nightmare. Alright, that does it for this video for now. I didn't want to get into too many because I didn't want this video to be mega long. So if you have any other Sans variants you want me to talk about, just leave them in the comments below. Also, make sure to tell me what I got wrong because all this stuff was really confusing and hurt my brain.